you for having me here, Andrew. My name is Andre. I'm from the Ramp team. Ramp is a corporate card and spend management platform. We're started in 2019. Since then, we've rapidly scaled to 45,000 customers, $100 billion in annualized payment volume. And it's really a corporate card expense management and AP platform designed to help companies save time and money. And we take pride in realizing those savings for customers. And to date, we've saved over $10 billion and 27 million hours for our business customers.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm Tomer, co-founder and CTO at Winston AI. At Winston, we are driving user engagement through AI-driven touch points, all in both compliant and personalized way.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Unsurprisingly, after we have an Andrew and Andre, my name is also Andrew. My name is Andrew McCormick. I have the joy and honor of leading the U.S. team for eToro. eToro is a publicly traded retail investing company that offers stocks, ETF, crypto options to 75 countries around the world. Retail focus. A unique calling card for us is we have a social media platform integrated in our trading experience so our users can share ideas, follow each other, copy each other as well.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. I'm Andrew Lebos. I run the licensing department at Benzinga. See a lot of partners and clients in the room. Appreciate you all. If you're not a client, hit me up after. We help retain users through cool features on your brokerage, research platform, etc. That's my last pitch. We'll have fun now and learn from the professionals. So to start it off, we'd love to hear a one-sentence summary of why is it moving of how you retain and engage your users.
Good question. I think it's actually save your customers time and money.
For us, is listen to the users.
We try to build a product that's accessible, simple, and social.
Nice.
We actually stuck to one sentence each.
Yeah, I know. It's we'll get into 30 minutes of the rest of it, but I'll start out with Andre, and based on our discussions around this, you guys are a B2B platform, but you view it as more of a B2C platform.
Yeah, so we are a B2B platform, but we are designing a consumer-like experience. And so we want to make sure we can actually deliver consumer-grade experiences to business customers. And there's a few ways to do that. Number one, we think about making the product feel invisible, actually. So if you're doing expense reports, traveling here, you don't ever want to be in a platform submitting that, itemizing all of that, right? You want that to be fully automated. And so we kind of want to make it fully automated from that perspective. The other thing I would say is we think of the Henry Ford motto, which is like, if he asked the customer what they wanted, they would have asked for a faster horse, and our customers would have asked for better expense management. And we're thinking, why don't we just fully do away with that? You don't need to do expense reports if we can fully automate the whole process. And so that's kind of how we think about it, and just designing from first principles and the user in mind and being users of our own product.
Wow. Henry Ford model is, I want to use that. Tomer, do you want to add anything? You're also all of us on the stage are actually B2B to C. Do you want to add anything from an AI perspective of how you build retention and engagement for the end user through your partners?
Yes. So how we build engagement to the end users. So you need to build confidence. You need to make them curious about the product. You need to lead them through a dedicated and personalized funnel where you show them that you, on one hand, understand them, and on the other hand, you don't want to overload them with a lot of information and data, and you just want to make it as accurate and simple as possible.
100%. Confidence is huge. We'll get into confidence deeper later in the panel. Andrew, B2B to C as well, or B2C, direct, sorry.
Direct.
So from your perspective, how are you viewing this?
Yeah, we see ourselves like a supermarket, right? If you go to a grocery store and all there is bread, right? You might need bread, but you might want cookies, candy, fruit, salad, those kind of things. And we want to be a marketplace where we have interest on cash, we have stocks, ETF, options in the future, hopefully futures, as well as advisory products. And we try to build that storefront with as much as possible, as easily accessible as possible, and then let the consumers choose, right? And it's kind of interesting. Some people come to us just for crypto, and we tell them all about our other offerings, and they're just here for crypto. Same thing for options or different products, but try to build a very accessible and simple supermarket.
The supermarket is a good analogy. In talking about this panel, you had mentioned some cool features that you're building around education, and I know it's a huge priority for you guys.
Yeah. So look, like us in this room, we take it for granted, like investing is part of our day-to-day life, whether at work, at home. But for most Americans, that's not the case. Some government studies show only like 21% of people have ever sat on their home, their desktop computer and opened an investing account. 58% have some kind of investment out there, most of that through 401ks, employers. So for most of the population in the United States, they've never opened a trade. And we want to educate and empower people to do so because investing is such an amazing tool for wealth creation, and it's something that we at these conferences take for granted. But for most people going about their days, whether it's at work or kids or family, chores, you're not thinking about it. So what we've done is we try to have an entire education library called eToro Academy. So whether you want to learn through memes or webinars, there's something for everybody there. We even have programs called the Learn and Earns Challenge that I really enjoy, where people can take they watch a course, they take quizzes, and they can actually earn real dollars that they can actually make real investments with for like $20. And so that's the education piece, but I think the empowerment piece is just as important because you can read and learn what an ETF is, what the S&P 500 is, but taking that next step to actually make a trade can be a hard step. So we've done eToro. We try to make that as simple as possible. You can make a trade for as little as $10. And that's something that 5-10 years ago is just would be unheard of. Right, and a lot of broker dealers, and historically, if you're a huge fan of Chipotle and you love eating at Chipotle, you love the burritos, you're like, I want to invest in Chipotle. Like, well, you need maybe $600 to buy a whole share, and that is the threshold. eToro and other providers, you love the Chipotle, you just spent $14 on a burrito. Maybe it was like $8 5 years ago, but you spent $14 on a burrito, and now you want to put $10 and you become an owner of Chipotle stock. We enable to do that. So the education and empowerment are two key pillars for us.
It's way more than 14 with guac, to be honest. They could save their guac money and invest on eToro. Nice pitch. Sorry for the side note, but Tomer, is there this, like, from a feature perspective, is there anything specific you'd want to call out? You're doing really cool stuff with AI. What has been most engaging for users?
Most engaging for users, I would say that personalization is the most engaging part within their journey. Because if you show them that you know them, if you show that you remember what they speak of, if you understand the true value of what you're giving to a certain user, and it's different for each and every user. One user can come to the platform to look for news, and the other can come to the platform to look for market data or whatever it is. If you know to recognize it, detect it, see what other users like this user spoke of, and then you can access it to the user in a simple way, that would be the
100%. That probably builds trust too, right? Like the familiarity factor for a user. Exactly what they want to see. Andre, I know you're playing in a little bit of a different field, but you're still directly with users. What is the most engaging part for users on your platform?
Well, we started with the corporate card, expanded into expense management, went into AP. And so what we realized is that companies really want to have an all-in-one non-payroll spend product. And so by combining all of that and creating one single platform where they don't need disparate tools and all of that, you're actually meeting them where they're at, creating simplicity, ease for them, and one simple platform that allows to have all of their non-payroll expense in one product. And if you're able to also show savings on top of that, both from an integration perspective, time savings, and then also cost savings and how they can cut down on expenses, it becomes, we can show the retention, and people love to stay stick around, tell their friends, tell, fellow CFOs, controllers about it, and then, recommend the product to fellow customers and prospects.
Makes sense. Integrations is a huge part of your business, right? Weird question, but is there ever too many integrations? Like, I know that we all want to add as many features as possible to platforms in order to engage users, but is there like a magic number?
I would reframe the question. It's like, if you have too many integrations, I would rethink how many products you're actually using, because if you have too many integrations, you probably have too many tools, right? And so one way to cut down on that is use integrated platforms, right? Like a Ramp, where you can have corporate card, expense management, AP all in one. That's not to say you can eliminate everything, but there are core systems like ERPs, HR tools that we have to integrate with, and we have very robust integrations with, but you don't need to have infinite integrations to solve customer needs, right? I actually think the simpler, the fewer in many cases.
Interesting.
I have a different perspective here. I think that as long as you can bring value to the users with integrations, that's a fair integration, and you should go through it. But then you don't want to overload the users with a lot of integrations. So the whole UI should be dynamic for the situation of the user. Like, we are in a modern world, we're not in 2000 anymore. We can do some cool stuffs. And if you'll change the homepage for each and every user, and you'll show him what he's interested of, so you can integrate how many features as you want.
I think it's a natural progression for fintech finance, because they've been doing it on Facebook since we were young, right? Like, all social media is doing it, businesses are doing it. It should be similar in finance.
Mm-hmm. Actually, the eToro example is a very good one, because they have the feed where they change the items in the feed based on the user, and it's personalized. So it's a lot of features that each user is adding to the feed, and it changes dynamically.
Yeah. Do you want to speak on that, or how to not over inundate users with feeds?
Yeah, I kind of go back to the supermarket idea. So a widget tool, data source, news that 1 million people may love. There may be another 1 million who never want it, but our job, we want to put as much data out there as possible and tools out there as possible to equip as many retail investors as possible to succeed on their investing journey. And it may not be for them, but at least it's there in case they ever need it or want it.
That's interesting. I have a kind of micro question, because I know a lot of brokerages in the room are trying to onboard education or quizzes, things of that nature for engagement. How are you driving your users to engage with that engagement tool?
Free money helps. So when we say, hey, take this quiz, and for every question you get right, you get $2, and you can get up to $20, that certainly leads to a spike in engagement. So unsurprisingly, money helps, but we try to also listen to our customers. And so when we see, hey, we're sending a bunch of emails and the open rate is 2% and the read rate is 0.05%, all right, there's a different way we can get the message out there. And one of our unique selling points is the fact that we have a social media feed. We can actually post on the feed and engage with users in that way as well. That feels more natural, more personal than, hey, here's another email. But free money and that kind of incentive always helps.
100%. For users that have engaged with the the education platform, have you seen a spike in their usage on platform or retention, or is there any sort of metrics around that?
Yeah, something we look at a lot, and I think we did this program in 24, and it was very successful for this very purpose of those people sticking around. And so we did it again this year, and I think part of it is, just giving people the confidence to take that next step on their investing journey. And you make one stock trade or crypto or ETF, whatever it is, and you just feel more empowered to do it again and learn as you go.
Totally. Tomer, from a personalization perspective, do you have any sort of metrics or insight on user engagement when adding personalization?
I have some, but I'm not sure that I can share our internal statistics.
Fair.
Sorry for that.
Do you have anything anything broad
I can share, I can give a case study of our mutual partnership between Winston and Benzinga,
Perfect.
where where we wanted to bring tourist users from the .com site into the Pro platform. So this was the problem that we tried to resolve. So what we did is started to follow the user through his journey within the Benzinga page, and then we knew what is in his interest. We sent it to our model, and we created hypothesis of how to make money out of this journey. And then we access it through an AI, and it's a fully personalized funnel. And we saw in the past, in the last 90 days that were more than 300,000 users were interact with this feature. Before it looked like an ad and no one looked at it. So
No, it's been huge for our business, so we appreciate it. And our legal counsel is in here somewhere. He had permission to share those, so we're all good on that. Thank you for sharing that case study. Andre, I know you guys have multiple business lines that overlap. Do you have any insight on user engagement and across those businesses?
Yeah, so I would say number one, when we see people using the different products that we have, so whether it's corporate card, expense management, travel, procurement, right, engagement obviously picks up and stickiness picks up as well. The other thing that's interesting at our company is that we actually have the customer support team sit under our product team. And so there's a very tight feedback loop of what the customer wants to our product and engineering teams. And based on that, we can iterate very quickly, right? So the data from a customer reaches the hands of our engineering and product team very quickly. We iterate on that. And if we see, for example, in the customer support tickets that we're spiking on this one product, the product and eng team will look into that and try to iterate, improve it very quickly. And that's the sort of data we're going off of. It's really like the feel of the customer in real time and iterating on that quickly. And then, trying to get them to use the products within Ramp that are valuable to them, and then also showing time and money savings on those products.
Nice. I like the use of support and product together. I might integrate that myself. That brings up a good point. Is there one number that your team checks every day that is a good gauge of engagement and retention?
Yeah, so the North Star is really like how much money are we saving for customers and how much time we're saving. But that's North Star. I think one thing we also look at is NPS score. What's relatively unique here is that while we're a B2B product, we hold a high bar of an Apple-like consumer-grade NPS experience. And so we are striving for that level. And so we want to make sure as we deliver products, it's actually Apple-like consumer grade in a business setting, and that changes the game a little bit because these employees are typically used to using no offense to Concur. I've never heard anyone that liked it, right? And so now you're feeling like an Apple-like experience, and it's a game changer.
That's huge. Shots fired to Concur. Tomer, is there a metric that your company uses in terms of engagement? I know B2B2C is a little different, but is there one thing that you guys focus on from a metric perspective?
yes, there are two main metrics. One is a lifetime value, not time on platform. We want to increase the time on platform of the users, and then it leads directly to actions. So this is one thing. And the other metrics is weekly interactions. We want the user to interact at least once in a week with our platform, and then we can maintain the whole personalization funnels and make the journey more personalized and take this layer and embed it in each and every feature within the platform.
Nice. It's a very good ecosystem play too to maintain engagement. Andrew, is there a metric that you guys watch in terms of engagement and retention?
Yeah, there's two, and both are unsurprising. Is one, number of trades per day, right? As a trading platform, that's like the metric. It's always interesting to see how that moves up and down with the market, and something I've especially learned this year when we've had multiple dips, and whether that's based on NVIDIA news or presidential tweets, whatever it may be, that the retail investor keeps buying a dip over and over and over again, which is like, I think, a really powerful metric that we see. And then second is what we call net deposits, and effectively is more money coming into the platform than leaving the platform. And that's something we take so seriously and actually see it as an honor, right? People work hard for their money, and there's a lot of places you can spend it. So really value the fact that people are trusting eToro with their dollars. And hopefully they'll always put in more than they take out, but we definitely have seen a lot of people make a ton of money off, especially crypto, and they'll, what was maybe $1,000 deposit 9 years ago is now exiting like in a much higher number, and I wish them the best of luck with that for sure.
100%. Congrats on the growth, honestly. eToro is an amazing platform and super appreciative of our partnership. I think we're almost out of time, 2 minutes. I'd like to leave some food for thought for the executives in the room. Like philosophically or theologically, how do you think about user retention and engagement?
I would say be the most critical user of your product, right? Like feel the pain that your customers feel and build for yourself. If you're building well for yourself, and for early, alpha beta customers, you're building well for the general customer base, and then have a very tight feedback loop to ensure that if something's not going right or if you can make improvements, that you constantly iterate and improve on that.
For us, it would be like personal relationships between two different persons. It doesn't matter that at the end they are interacting with the platform. They need to feel that you understand them, you're speaking with them with the relevant topics, you're not getting too deep, but you want to leave a room for curiosity, some mystery, I would say, because you don't want to expose yourself all in the first time. And you want to leave them in the journey to a point where they understand, they have the aha moment and understand the true value of the product. So as a relationship between two people.
So innovation in fintech is hard. It's hard from a product perspective, technical perspective, legal perspective, regulatory perspective. And we just always march toward the North Star of doing what's best for our customers. And almost all the times you'll end up in the right spot, both from a legal perspective, regulator, as well as just customer retention.
Super impactful way of thinking of this. And I appreciate you guys for your time. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the show, enjoys lunch. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Andrew.
For having us.